So welcome. Today we're going to focus on a crow posture, Bakasana, and crane. It's kind of the same posture, but in one you have the arms bent, and then on the next one you have the arms straight, and it requires just a little bit more flexibility on your wrists, and of course a little bit more strength. But we will take a look at both of them, and then you will see where you can take it. And remember, you can go through this first day as many times as you need to in order for you to develop this strength and the tools that you need to work on your posture as best as you can before moving into the next ones. You can always, just look into the next ones if you want to. But we want a stable and a nice and good crow posture to move into the next postures. So today we're going to need a block. If you don't have a block at home, just something that can give you a little bit of height. Well, when we're gonna try to get it, we're gonna try to get our feet in the block. So if you have a book that is kind of wide, take that one, a stable book, or just something that works for you, that you can grab at home, And then have it close to you, close to your mat. First, we're gonna warm up the core. And we really want to warm up the core because we use a lot of strength, core strength in this posture. So we're going to start on the floor. So please take your mat. We're probably there already. And we're just going to lay on our back to begin with. And we're going to kind of play with the same shape of crow, but on the floor. So once you're in the floor, you have the support of the floor. You're not going to be afraid of falling, but you're going to use the core and the body to find the same shape that you want when you're actually on your hands on the floor. So go ahead, just lay on the floor. Make sure the hair is not bothering you. And then bring the legs together, knees together, and lift the knees off the floor. Lift the feet off the floor. Point to the toes, so engage through the legs. The toes pointed are gonna give you strength all the way to the top, the tippy toes. So point the toes, give the knees and legs together, then hug the knees into your chest and hug with the arms first. So really pull the knees in with your hands, keeping the knees and the feet together. All the way in as much as you can, so really hugging the legs. So maybe the thighs touch completely on your stomach, maybe not, that depends on you. And then from there, we're gonna lift the head off the floor, looking kind of forward towards the toes. Keep hugging your knees in. Take 2 more breaths. Good, then from here, we're gonna let go of the knees. Now check how the moment you let go of the knees, your core has to work a little bit harder. Do you feel it? Good. Keep it here. We're going to hold it 5. Round in. Try to get the knees in closer to the chest without touching. 4. Stretch the arms forward. 3. 2. Round in a little bit more. 1. Good. Release. Feet to the floor, head to the floor. Now we're going to create the same shape, this same thing we did, but now we're going to stretch the arms up towards the ceiling. And that will really create this crow shape that we're looking for. Now when we stretch the arms up, you want to make sure the shoulders are stretching too. So you're going to create this shoulder protraction. So you don't keep the shoulders back, you stretch the arms up, and then you send the shoulders up and forward towards the ceiling, opening through the scapulas, because this roundness of the spine is what we're going to look for when we're standing on our hands on the floor. You will see it, so we will get there. So bring again the legs together, feet together. Point your feet. This time open your knees just a little bit wider apart, kind of hip-width distance, but keep the big toes touching on the floor. Hug your knees into your chest as much as it goes. And then from here, lift the head, look towards the big toes. And now this time we're going to stretch the arms up towards the ceiling. Now remember, you don't keep the shoulders back. It's not just the arms straight. As you're stretching all the way up to the ceiling, rounding your upper spine, opening your scapulas. Now try to get your knees in closer to the armpits, maybe. Give the breath. Look towards the big toes. Focus there. Hold it here for 5. Stretch the arms, round the spine. 4, 3, 2, 1. And let go, release to the floor. Now that's the same thing of doing crow, but you're not using your hands to balance. Then we're gonna try another variation that it's gonna be that we're gonna bring the knees to the outsets of your triceps instead of to the back of the arms, because maybe you're gonna do a crow in this variation, maybe you will do it like this, we will see. So bring the big toes to touch, open your knees a little bit wider apart, hip width distance apart. Hug the knees into your chest as much as you can. From there, lift the head, look towards the big toes. Now this time, bring the arms to the bring the arms to the inside of your knees, stretch the arms up. Now hug your knees into the arms as you stretch around the spine, so protract your shoulders, stretch up. Hug the knees into the arms, 5. At the same time, open your arms up and keep hugging with the knees to create distraction all the time, 4. Stretch up towards the ceiling, 3, 2, 1, and release. You feel it on the core. I, of course, feel it. It feels really how you're working so hard to create this shape, to keep rounding through the spine and to keep your knees in, hugged in as much as possible. So we're going to do the same thing, or kind of the same thing, but now we're going to be sitting on the floor. So go ahead and roll up. And I'm just going to wrap my hair around. So we're going to create this same shape, but now we're going to be balancing on the floor, balancing on our bum. So bring the feet together, knees together. We're gonna do these 3 variations one more time. So knees together, feet together. Now this time, instead of kind of hugging the knees, because you don't have to work so hard to do this one, bring your feet in, close to you, as much as it goes, as much as you can still balance there. Give the knees together, feet together. Stretch the arms forward. Now again, remember you want to protract the shoulders, so open your scapulas, opening up your shoulder blades, so you're not staying back here with the shoulders, but stretch forward. And a little bit of roundness on the spine. Stretch the arms. Now come on to the tippy toes. Lift the heels. Then round in and hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2, focus forward, 1, and release. Now you might feel it a little bit more on the arms and the upper body than you feel it on the core in this one, because you have the balance on the floor for your feet. So next time, we're going to try it again. Now this time, we're going to try to lift the tippy toes off the floor, finding the shape. Still balancing just on our seat bones. And finding this shape again of hugging the knees into the chest as much as possible, and at the same time stretching the arms forward and rounding the spine. Okay, so bring the feet together as much as it goes, closer to you. This time open your knees, kind of hip width distance apart. We're going now working on the really crow shape. Stretch the arms forward. Now try not to rest the arms on the knees yet. Stretch first and just focus on protracting your shoulders. Now from there, try to get on the tippy toes, and maybe the knees are going to touch on the back of the arms. Focus on one spot. We're going for the balance, so get high on the tippy toes, and then if it goes, lift the toes off the floor. Round the spine, hold it here. 5, stomach in, 4, stretch more forward, try to get your knees in closer to you. 3, there you go. 3, one more, 2, 1. I gave you 2 3s this time, it's okay. Okay, release. We're gonna try one more time, same thing that we did before. This time we're gonna try to keep your knees on the outsets of the triceps. And remember, you're hugging the knees in, and at the same time the arms stay in the same position, just to create this balance in between the arms and the legs, okay? So we try it the same way. Bring the feet to touch. Walk your feet in as close as it goes to your body. Stretch the arms forward. Now get on the tippy toes and try to get your knees on the outside of the triceps. Stretch your fingertips forward, protract your shoulders, focus on one spot, get back, 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 round the spine, and lift the toes. 5, 4, good, stretch the arms. 3, 2, 1, release. Now, how does it feel for you? For me, it always feels like it works better when I do it on the floor. That way I can work more with my core and also the strength on the core allows me to work better in this posture. But you can try both ways, and then you can always see what works better for you to keep working on the shape and the core strength and the stability of the body. Now we're gonna go and grab our block and get actually moving into the actual posture. Now, before we start, I do recommend you to warm up your wrists before you do this, because you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on your hands, on your wrists. So you can find a video here on the webpage where we talk about wrist warm-up. So go ahead and watch it if you need to first, and then come back to this point when we start balancing on our hands. Okay, so grab your block, bring it into your mat. So first we're going to try to balance with the knees on the outsets of the triceps, just as we were practicing, where we hug the knees into the arms, but we keep the arms on the same position, arms strong, so that we keep hugging, and this hugging is going to allow us to balance in this posture a little bit easier. So you will see. But we're going to be standing on the block just to bring the feet a little bit higher, so that when you have to lift the feet up, you're not so far away to actually lifting the feet. The thing is that when you practice straight on the floor, it feels that lifting the feet it's too much. But if you actually start just standing on a yoga block, then you feel a little bit more confident that the feet just have to go up a little bit. So let's try it. Put the block on the floor. Now come up and stand on your block. We're going to bring the feet together, big toes to touch. There you go. Now lower your hips, bring your hands down to the floor. So the hands can go kind of just underneath your shoulders or a little bit forward. Now once you're here, the knees go to the outside of the triceps. And just from right into this moment, hug your knees in. So you create this hugging, it hugs you so tight that you're not going to fall anywhere. Look a little bit forward. Don't look down in between the hands. Look kind of to the edge of your mat or some spot in front of you. Now keep hugging the knees into your triceps. Lean forward. So your hips are going to lift up. Now keep hugging. Focus one spot. Now lift one foot up and then the other one. Find the breath around the spine, stomach in, and see if you can balance there. See how rounded my spine is? That's what we're looking for. Then release the feet down to the floor. We're going to try one more time without the block. And remember that you can try this as many times as you need to. It's not that you have to move as fast as we move in the video. You can always pause it, take one more look, and then continue working on it, okay? But if this felt okay for you, then you can go ahead and try it without the block. So we're going to start the same way. So you bring your big toes to touch on the floor, so that the feet are together to start. You open your knees, lower your hips. And bring your hands to the floor, just kind of in front of your shoulders. Now focus one spot in front of you, so don't look straight down. Remember, send the eyes a little bit more forward. Now this time, lift the hips. Hold your knees into the triceps as much as you can. Find the hug. Focus forward. Lift one foot. If you feel confident, lift the other one. Keep hugging the knees in. Round the spine. Focus one spot. Keep breathing. And then bring the feet down to the floor. Now you might be on a point that you're just lifting one foot up, and maybe the other one is not coming up. That's okay. You're working on it, So once you keep working and working, and when you feel, you probably are going to feel when you're ready to lift the other foot off the floor. Don't be afraid to try it. Falling, and falling is a part of the practice. You're going to fall, it doesn't matter. You're going to be quick reacting, so don't be afraid that you're going to fall and maybe you're going to go straight and something's going to happen to you. You might go straight into the floor, but the body is so quick reacting that you're going to save yourself. And if you're home, you can always put a pillow just in front of you if you're afraid, and that will make the landing a little bit softer. Okay, so we tried it with the block, we tried it without the block, and we tried with the knees hugging on the outside of the triceps. Now we're going to try another variation, that if you're feeling stable in this crow with the knees on the outside. We're gonna go for the knees behind the elbows. Now, keeping the knees behind the elbows is gonna give you a lot of support if you really already are feeling confident in this posture. So we will try it like that before we're going to the variation where you have the arms straight, that it's actually called crane instead of crow. Now we're gonna start kind of the same way. So if you're crow with your knees outside the triceps works fine and you feel good in that, you can go ahead and try this variation. So we're gonna bring your feet together to touch. Now if feet completely together feel very weird for you, you can always open your feet a little bit wider apart. They don't have to be like that to begin with. It's not that, it's a rule that you have to follow all the time. So bring your feet together or a little bit wider apart, hands go to the floor. Now we're gonna come high on the tippy toes. Keep your hands on the floor, look a little bit forward. Now come forward so that you bring your knees just behind the elbows. Now make sure the knees are exactly there. So don't go too high to begin with. Bring the knees just behind the elbows. Lift the bum up, so the bum is we're gonna go really high on this one. Look forward, focus one spot. Find the balance, come high on your toes. Focus one spot. If you feel it, lift one foot. If you feel it, lift the other one. Round the spine, find the balance. I came out early from this one, but find the balance, keep the breath. Now focus one spot, round in, and then when you're ready, bring the feet down to the floor. You can go ahead and try this one with the block underneath your feet also if you want to get a little bit higher with the toes when you're trying this for the first time. That also works fine. And you're trying to really keep your knees just behind the elbows. There's a spot that you're going to find that you can balance good there. So it's not too high on the triceps, it's just behind the elbows, and it's a way that the arms are always bent and the bum goes up really high. But it's a great way to start working on crane. So that when you feel comfortable in this, just keeping your knees behind the elbows, you start moving a little bit higher on your triceps, and then a little bit higher, and then a little bit higher. So going behind the elbows, for me, it's a really good way to start when you don't want to keep the knees on the outside of the arms. So go ahead and check it. And as I said, if that works better for you, then you're ready for the next step. That is to move your knees a little bit higher, and a little bit higher, and a little bit higher. If you're in that spot when you have your knees just behind your armpits or really high on your triceps, but you haven't been working on straightening out the arms, that's what we're going to look at next. And I'm just going to show you what I mean. So hands on the floor, you bring your knees to the back of the triceps, close to the armpits. You get high on the toes, you look forward, you lift one foot and then the other one. And once you find the balance, you start working on straightening out the arms as much as it goes. Now again, warm up your wrists. That's a lot of pressure. When we come to crane, what happens is that the wrists, the elbows and the wrists are not longer on the same angle. When we're doing crow with the arms bent, the elbows are always on top of the wrists. When we come to crane, the elbows move forward, the shoulders move forward. So you have a lot more pressure on your wrists. So you have to make sure you're really warmed up to do it. Let's try it, okay? So come up, bring your hands to the floor. Look forward. Bring your knees as high as possible to your armpits or the back of the triceps. Because one spot forward, lift one foot, lift the other one. Round the spine, find the balance. Now I want you to focus on bringing the hips down. So don't focus on straightening the arms, because we keep thinking, I need to straighten my arms, but nothing is happening. So what I want you to think is that instead of trying to get your arms straight, you're trying to lower your hips a little bit. And the moment you start lowering the hips, the moment that the arms are going to get straighter and straighter. And I'm just going to show you what I mean. Because we will start here with the arms bent. if I can find the balance. There you go. The hips are high up. The moment I start lowering down the hips, the moment my arms straight out. You see it? So we're gonna try it that way. So instead of thinking on your arms, think a little bit of your hips. But if your hips are high, we're gonna lower the hips, and the moment that we lower the hips, the arms are gonna straight out a little bit more. Okay, so we try one more time. Hands on the floor, get high on the toes, bring your knees up as high as possible. Look forward, focus on one spot, lift one foot, then the other one. Then from there, lower your hips, and balance. Good job. And then lower down. And make sure you give your hands some love when you finish. So roll your wrists, bring your hands to the floor, and just stretch out the wrists as much as you need to. And then, you have these videos. They're available for you. That we did it here just a few times doesn't mean that you need to do the same time every day. You can always work in it a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, depending on what you want. The secret is to keep working. So don't stop working. Have patience. This journey can take a little bit longer than you expected, or maybe it goes very good and goes faster than you even thought. But as long as you keep working, you're going to keep advancing. You're going to keep moving forward. So don't worry. Thank you for joining. Namaste.